Hey everybody, it's Work here. Today we're going to go over the Troy Tomahawk Stock here. The Tomahawk Stock is a unique stock system that gives you a very short buffer and a very short, small buttstock here. So the system itself seems to be made to be able to fit a short buffer system onto a standard AR and get full functionality with everything else being similar to the way it would be with a full carbine stock. So the way it functions here is, you can see we've got two rails here. So these rails are what's going to give us the extension on the system, because the buffer tube is actually only this first 5 inches or so here, but the buttstock itself will obviously go back much further to give us that use of a full-length buttstock. One cool feature about this is it is fireable from the collapsed position. So unlike the folding stocks that cut down the overall size of the rifle by another 5 inches or so, this in its fully collapsed state can still fire. So on the bottom side here, we've got a button here. So we're going to push that button. That's going to release our detents up here. We'll just pull back on the stock, and it ends up giving us a full-length buttstock with this nice buffer, short buffer in here. So we'll grab a tape measure here, and we're going to find out exactly how long this is. So we're looking at about a 10-inch system here once it's extended all the way. So it's a really cool system. It gives you a full length, but you've got a slightly smaller contact patch back here, but it's actually quite deceiving how small this contact patch is. It's got a really nice texturing here on the back, which holds really well to your shoulder as you put it up there. You actually, once you fit this right in that little crook in your shoulder, it holds right in. It's really nice. The system does not recoil poorly. Really, I was a little bit concerned over this short buffer. Now we did get got a Breakout 2 muzzle brake flash hide on here, so that is helping us out a little bit. But really, this system recoils very light for what it is. I was concerned about it, but it really recoils light. The size of this stock, it's not nearly as bad as you might think it would be. Now, one adverse feature of this, there's a couple of things that I've noticed since getting this together. So one of the things is, because of the way that this works with these rails coming up the sides, it limits some of your choices with the options that you can have on your AR. One of the options is a sling mount back here on back. Now you can see here we've got this low ambidextrous sling mount. We've looked into the double-eared sling mounts with the holes on either side. If you notice, those would interfere a little bit. They do not work with this system. No big deal. You can just get a different type, but that's something to be aware of. If that's the style you run with the QD attachments, it won't work well. Another problem is over here at the bolt catch lever. A bolt catch modification like a bad lever will not work here. Now, I've not looked into the alternate style levers. The only one that I've got a mag pull bad lever, and it works really well on my other rifle. Not so much on this one. It's going to interfere here. So those are two locations that it's going to cause a problem. You're not going to be able to run the bad lever, and you're going to be limited to which sling mounts you can pick here. Other than that, it is a really nice little system. It does require a little finickiness, though, to break down the rifle. So the buffer system, because it's a short buffer system, the buffer itself is only about this long back inside this system here. The rest of the weight of the buffer comes from a nub that actually protrudes up into the bolt carrier group, which only causes a problem when you want to break down or put the rifle back together. So I'll show you really quick here what it takes to take this thing down, because it is kind of a pain. The first thing you've got to do is we're going to pull our bolt back. On the bottom of the rifle here, right behind the lock nubs for the rails, is a small button. So we're going to push that button down. We're going to hold it down really hard. Push the detent down, release the bolt, put your charging handle back forward, and then you can see here the bolt is still in a rearward position. So we got to kind of shimmy the bolt back forward. Now I had to use my forward assist there to get the bolt all the way back in battery. Now the buffer system is actually back here, held in here, and that nub is released. Gonna pop our pin, just like we would on standard disassembly, and lift up. You can see that we're okay here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick my finger down here, and as I release that detent, I'm going to pull the buffer system back. Now that actually brings me to another feature that this disables, and that is the extended breakdown pins. You cannot run the standard knob style breakdown pins with this system. They'll interfere as soon as you try to push the stock up, and it just won't work. So that's the breakdown of the system. Obviously the front one comes up like normal, functions, it breaks down from there just like a standard AR. To put it back together, it's a very similar process, except this time you don't have a bolt to help you get this thing back in. So you actually take your hands, shove this guy back in here. Let's try it this way. There we go, back to that detent. Now you can see he's back in there, back in that detent. I'm going to close this back up and close that down. Once that's closed down, you can either release this or pull your bolt back to catch your carrier group and send it home. And that's how you end up breaking it down. Again, this system's really cool. It limits a couple of the features of your rifle, but if you're looking for a nice low-profile system to be able to break it down and to be able to quickly pull it out and have it fireable in a small package, this is great. If you don't break your rifles down much, or if you're okay with a couple of extra steps, go for it, get it. This thing is awesome. I still do think that this is a better option than the folding stock. It's a better system. It's fully fireable. It does not disable the rifle, and I think this is a good system to get. Thanks. See you next time.